Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, today I'm going to be talking about the food apps in general. And so, in the last couple of days, I kind of got interested in seeing just the best side hustles only because I do love doing DoorDash and Grubhub, but I also want to expand to make more money. So, I've been looking at other YouTube videos when it comes to side hustles, and just looking at all of them, I think I watched like 4 or 5 videos, and they kind of talk about the same side hustles, but every time that they mention either DoorDash or any food app, they always say, "Oh yeah, you need to only work when there's peak hours, when there's stuff like that." But I feel like when you actually work the actual apps, you'll know that those are probably the worst times to do it. Only because first, with DoorDash, we all know that the that the app crashes every Friday, and then I believe today on Monday it crashed again. Number two, that's when there's the most drivers, and that means you'll probably get less orders per hour. And number three, they're just not well informed when it comes to that, only because they don't do it on a daily, or they don't do it enough to know that those aren't the best times. But it just seems like every YouTube video that does do side hustles, though, feels like they kind of lean towards, just telling you that, do it on peak hours, do it at these times, do it at that time, which is fine. But only if they have actually done it. I feel like they only put it only because they kind of looked up like side hustles, and I feel like that's one of them. And they'll probably go off of what they see, that oh yeah, DoorDash might say, oh, make up to 20 an hour. Posing might say make up to 25 an hour. They'll probably look at that, and it's just a very uninformed message in my opinion. Only because I remember one of the YouTube videos, she was talking about do DoorDash on peak hours, and you'll average $10 to $12 per order. And I think we know, whoever's working DoorDash, we know that that's not a consistent thing that happens. You'll get $4, $5, $6 orders, and it's just not. They just kind of vaguely talk about it, and it doesn't seem like they're just not well informed with it. And then it kind of bugged me a little bit, only because like I saw the other side hustles, which are fine, but like to me, the best side hustle is doing the food apps if you're working it smartly, not like an employee. But I'm gonna tell you why. There's 5 reasons why I think that it's the best side hustle. So if you guys enjoy the video, please give it a like. But anyways, the first one is you work your own hours. So working your own hours, that means you can schedule anytime. You can kind of, do stuff in between whatever you're gonna try to do for work. If you're in school, you can schedule after, you're done with your classes. Or if you have another full-time job, you can do, an evening thing or in a morning thing or anything else. Anything that, you might be kind of just doing, you can, work around it because, most of the time DoorDash and Grubhub will have some blocks open for you to actually do them at the time that it's kind of convenient to you. And most things aren't like that. Even with other side hustles, when it comes to like maybe like, I see a lot of people say doing hair and stuff like that. That's not a consistent thing, and that's a very high skill thing that you need to know how to do. So most things you need a high skill to do. But I feel like, working your own hours, and it's kind of just very easier. And then I feel like it's more convenient, at least to me. So, number two is, to me, if you're not the most social person, it can be better just to do food deliveries instead of actual Uber and Lyft. So, let me explain this. So, with me personally, I don't feel comfortable having random people inside my car. So, I just refuse to do rideshare altogether. I did it probably like 2 years ago, and it was very nerve-wracking to me, only because the thought of having strangers in my car it's not a good thought in my head. And and then how my mind works, I kind of have like 1,000 things going at the same time, like I think worst case scenario or stuff like that. So to avoid that, you can do the food delivery apps, because you're just going to the restaurant, you're picking up the food, and then you're just dropping off the food to the person at their house. There can be some risk, clearly, but I feel like it limits it less, especially when you're not a social person, so you don't have to interact with too many people, or you don't have to, work hard to, get a good rating on Uber or Lyft, or, just kind of like that. Like, I'm more of a quiet person, so I'll just stay to myself. So I feel like that's way better. And then the hourly is almost the same. And then at times, food delivering can be even better. Plus, with Uber and Lyft, I feel like you have more wear and tear on your car. So I feel like if you're smart, food delivering is better. And then you don't have to be the most social person to do it. You can be, kind of to yourself. Like in the beginning, I was very nervous only because just the way I am. Like it was nerve wracking for me to start doing them. That's why I didn't do them like right in the beginning when I first knew about them. Like I knew about them, but it took me maybe a month to actually get the courage to actually go out and do a delivery. Like I know it sounds kind of dumb and crazy, but it's just the way I am. And then, a lot of people are that way too. So it helps that you don't have to be around other people or random people that you have to interact with. But anyways, so number three would be it's way better than working a minimum wage part time. So out here in California, at least, the minimum wage is $12 an hour in Los Angeles. I know in San Francisco it's 15, but even then, like that's way too low. Imagine you're working 4 hours. So 4 hours times $12, that's $48. And besides that, they're gonna take away, the government's gonna take from your paycheck every time. So let's say you're working 5 days, 5 times 48, that would be 240, and then they're taking a cut out of that. So you're not even seeing the full thing. So, and then with me personally, instead of doing, like I said, a part-time job, I can be doing DoorDash or Grubhub or both of them at the same time, and I can average the minimum. I can average 17 an hour, and I can go up to 25. And if it's a really, really good day or weekends, I can go up to 30 an hour. So I feel like working a part-time job is just, it might be the worst case scenario to me, only because they pay so low, and I know in other places it's even lower. So I feel like a part-time job is just not the way to do it, as long as you work the app smart, though. You have to know what you want to take, and you have to set your limit, like I've always said. You have to know what you want to do and what you're willing to take for your time. So, number four would be you don't have to have a very special skill or a degree or very much good experience or any experience. Like, you have to be nice and you have to have good customer service. So I guess that would be kind of a skill in a way. But for the most part, you don't have to be talented. You don't have to be good at something. You don't have to be really, you don't have to be good at math. You don't have to be good at, you kind of have to be good at math, to be honest with you, if you want to calculate, what's worth it to you. But for the most part, if you see an offer, by the time, that you kind of do it, you'll know what you're going to take and what you're not going to take. But it doesn't require anything, like a talent. If you want to play basketball, you kind of have to be tall. Or you want to be football, you have to have, a certain shape of your body. So it just feels like, and then dancing, of course, and all that type of stuff. So I feel like you don't need a special skill. Like, with me, I don't feel like I have a special skill when it comes to that type of stuff, but I am a very smart person, and I do look at different places to make money and stuff like that. So I feel like this works for me because I do kind of have a skill in a way when it comes to that. But you don't need anything special. Like, you can just, you can be like, oh, I want to do this, and then you can try it, and then, once you go look at YouTube, you go look at other things, or just get a little bit of heads up, or see how, other people do it, then you'll be able to do it yourself. And you have to know your market clearly. But yeah, you don't really need, and you definitely don't need a degree. You don't have to spend thousands and hundreds and thousands of dollars, to go to school to be, a food delivery driver. So, and then sometimes they even pay better than these these scholarship type of degrees. So it's just not, you don't need that much. So, and then I know I said it's a side hustle, but it can also be a full-time job. And I know a lot of people that do it full-time, and they make a really good living, or at least a decent living, where they don't have to be struggling or just be doing, not doing the best if they only had a part-time job. But that requires them to work smart or know what they're doing. So it's just not, oh yeah, I'm just going to go out here and just do everything. You have to have that mindset that you have to take what you're worth. You're not an employee. Remember, you're basically a business owner, like Get Coach Jake said. You're a business owner. You have to make financial decisions that make sense to you. It doesn't matter the next person or, whoever's next to you, if they think it's a bad idea, a good idea. Whatever you think is a good idea, you need to go with. You need to do what you want to do. So I feel like like I said, I feel like a lot of people are misinformed about, like, doing DoorDash and stuff like that, because some people say, yeah, it's a good side hustle, like, working for, like, gas money, but it can be a lot more than that, and that's what I realized doing it. But I know I said 5 things, but I only said 4. But anyways, yeah, I feel like that's why I feel like that's the best side hustle. Like, you can work it so well that you don't even need to do that much work at the end. I feel like it can be a lot of work in the beginning when you're starting to do it, but once you know how to do it and once you get the hang of it, you don't need to, like, keep learning. It's nice to learn, but it's not necessary. But anyways, thank you guys, and I hope you guys have a great night.